Let's welcome Mike Fong, Senior Solutions Engineer from ObservePoint, to share his thoughts on a brief history of quality, use cases, ROI, and growth. Mike is a career technology professional, frequent public speaker, and podcast host with his fingers in all sorts of pies. Data analyst, customer success, product development, or just a few aspects of Mike's role, as well as being ObservePoint's in-house expert in data quality and privacy compliance. Mike Fong, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for reading out my LinkedIn profile, Brent. Great. I know that I'm the only thing between you and lunch, so I'm going to try and speed things up a bit. So just to introduce myself, my name is Mike. As Brent said, I'm not going to do that again. ObservePoint is we're the world leader in data quality and MarTech validation. We work with organizations as large as Disney, HSBC, all the way down to mom and pop shops with only a few transactions per year. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Ooh, the clicker is here. Yes. Right, so today I want to tell you a bit about quality and why it matters in the past, or why it mattered in the past, and why it matters going into the future. And our story, well, actually, the inspiration for this presentation started about 9 months ago. So 9 months ago, I actually proposed to my girlfriend. And in order to do that, I had to do a lot of research into diamonds. So I secretly managed to do research on a ring. I did loads of research on diamonds. And then, at the event, in a nice venue, I bent down on one knee, like this, and I said, "Will you marry me, Amy?" So back to quality of diamonds. Cut, clarity, color, and carats. These are the things that we as humans have decided to value this very important moment in our lives. And these are the dimensions of quality. And if anyone's worked in QA, you'll know what I mean by dimensions of quality. It's the thing that we decide is what matters in a given product. And she said yes. Thankfully, otherwise I'd be making a fool of myself today. Thank you. So, can anyone tell me what this is? Cool. This is the Koh-i-Noor diamond. It was mined approximately the year 1300, thereabouts. It's 106 carats, and it currently resides on the crown of the Queen Mother and is on display at the Tower of London. 106 carats. But this is a suit of samurai armor from ancient Japan. Humans have always craved high-quality products. Shiny stones with the fewest inclusions, armor than weapons that are the strongest or will give you the most protection. Or in the case of the Colosseum, consistency. The stonemasons were very skilled to carve the keystone that will hold every arch together and stand the test of time. So beauty, desirability, strength, longevity. So our story, the history of quality, starts in the ancient world. Back in the day, there used to be craftsmen who could create products that were of a high quality. You think of poetry, Homer, a poet whose work has lasted throughout the years, right, from ancient Greece through to now, in print in many, many languages. Musicians, ironworkers, blacksmiths, carpenters. And eventually what happened is that these skilled craftsmen, they came together, right? If you're good at something, you naturally start working with and around other people who are good at something. And so these artisans, they became guilds, right? They you could say, unionized. And they started working together, training each other, passing on their skills to the next generation. But also, these guilds would act as seals of quality. So a wealthy patron could come along and say, I want an incredibly beautiful table. And so over time, these guilds drove quality higher and higher, and standards got even better. And it kind of peaked around the Renaissance. Everyone knows anything about the Renaissance in Europe. We're thinking the products were things like the Mona Lisa. That's quite a high-quality painting. We know that it was with higher quality shipbuilding, that there was an Italian called Cristoforo Colombo, who with a top quality ship managed to go and discover a new continent. And so the Renaissance was really where craftsmanship and quality peaked. There's lots of examples of top quality products there. But then, what happened? Thanks to the country where I'm from, England, the Industrial Revolution happened, and it became possible to mass produce lots of stuff, whether it be textiles, Industrial Revolution, it might be textiles, or, I don't know, clothes, iron, steel, lumber. Everything exploded, right, in terms of volume, but then quality suffered. So what happened? Industrialists had to start training their staff, training them on how to measure failure rates, how to learn from their mistakes, okay? And this became known as the mantra of scientific management. Now, this guy on stage, on my right, on your left, is called Walter Shewhart. And he was an American, and he was working at a company called Bell Telephony Labs. So this is the company founded by Alexander Graham Bell after he invented the telephone, or most people say he invented the telephone. Conspiracy theorists maybe in the crowd. And so Bell Labs had about 4,000 engineers in the 1930s. And so quality control at this scale, with that many employees, all with different skill levels, became a problem. So Walter Shewhart took scientific management to heart, and he recommended this cycle on the right, which is planning, doing, checking, and acting on the findings of your checking in a time-bound period. Now this sounds very familiar. Sprint planning, executing your stories, sprint reviews, and then improving your processes to make sure that your work, that those problems will not be repeated. So think, Walter Shewhart, 1930s America, may have invented Agile. Now, this system spread throughout the world, and after World War II, America and Japan were rebuilding Japan. And so there was a gentleman called William Edwards Deming, and he actually lectured in Japan about scientific management. So Deming actually trained a lot of Japanese businesses on quality control, most notably the automobile industry. And after many, many cycles of the cycle that we just demonstrated, Japanese cars, they just took off, right? Toyota was able to reduce their return rate, their failure rate. They were able to lower their manufacturing cost, and they were able to sell better cars cheaper. And that's where Japanese cars' reputation emerged in the 1950s and 60s. And the stereotype is that Japanese cars just came along and wiped away American cars. It's not quite that simple, but that kind of is what happened, thanks to their focus on quality. So to this day, this is not an Olympic medal. This is the Deming Prize. So in Japan, they have the Deming Prize, which is their equivalent of a Nobel Prize for quality. And you can see how quality is ingrained in Japanese culture, whether it be their automobiles, or for the last 50 years, the dominance in electronics. They're known for very good quality knives, and also square melons. Does anyone know about those cube melons? Right? They grow a watermelon in a cube jar, and they can retail for like $400. I'm not sure if that is a desirable dimension of quality. I'm not sure if it affects the taste, but it all adds to that. So, why am I telling you this? Well, we're now at the fourth industrial revolution, right? This is where AI, decentralization, instant communications will allow a whole new wave. We've got organizations creating virtual worlds. And ultimately, for example, decentralization, many people can just go and create a new cryptocurrency now. Or you can 3D print you can 3D print a toy. I've got colleagues 3D printing toys as their side hustle. This is the next revolution. And we've all heard that data is the new oil. And I'm sure that everyone in this room really depends on data in their everyday role. But just like the industrial revolution of the past, where sudden volume and scale caused a decline in quality, we're now at a point in our cycle where we can communicate with our customers anytime, anywhere. Everyone's got a phone in their pocket or a watch on their wrist. They'll soon have a screen on their glasses. So the ability to mass produce customer experience. Now, what we saw in the first industrial revolution was that there was scale, a drop in quality, and then a return to quality. And that is a situation we want to avoid. Quality is not diametrically opposed to scale. In fact, they're very much multiplicative. If you think about high-quality products that you use in your everyday lives, right? The products that you trust and rely on, how much is that worth to you, right? There's not really a number you can place on quality. So where does quality come in when it comes to data? What does ObservePoint actually do? Well, here are some of the outcomes. Very basic, right? If you can ensure that your marketing and analytics data is correct, you'll have more accurate personalization. You'll have less time, analyst time spent on troubleshooting. Let's move on quickly. Privacy technology. This is a new class of technologies that are being implemented on your websites. And what does quality mean here? Well, quality means that your customers' data actually is protected, right? Quality means that your cookies are actually storing the correct information in the right format, and that they will be, for the nerds among us, we'll know that the expiry date is the correct time. And ultimately, the ROI of quality is, for marketers, is a better customer experience. Now, if you must put a number on it, we actually had a Forrester report done on us, and it was 432% ROI. I've been told I can't sell, so I'm going to have to skip past this very quickly. But it's not just a number. You think back to the Colosseum, a timeless investment in quality. Think back to, maybe a diamond ring. Hopefully, a timeless investment in quality. So we tried to put numbers on quality, but ultimately, it's not possible. So thank you for listening. I'm going to let you all go to lunch.